We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimrandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam review class. So today we'll be completing the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So far we have discussed the Bhumandala and the various planets, the various dvipas which are there on the Bhumandala, and after describing all that, Shukadeva Goswami describes the lower planetary systems also: Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala, Patal, and all that. And he describes the particular features about each and every lower planetary system. And it's described that how these lower planetary systems, they are more opulent than even the heavenly planets, because there is no fear of time here, because it is all dark. Sun is not there, it is not dark, sun is not there, so there is no recognition of time. So, and these planets, they are illuminated by the light which is coming from the jewels which are there on the heads of all these nagas. And Shukadeva Goswami described in great detail about the Sutala planet where Bali Maharaj is there. And then after describing this, today we'll be discussing the 25th chapter, in which Shukadeva Goswami describes the glories of Lord Ananta. So Lord Ananta is the expansion of the Supreme Lord, who is residing 30,000 yojanas below Patal. So you can see Patal is there, and below that there is a Lord Ananta. And Lord Ananta, he is called as Tamasi. Why he is called as Tamasi? Because he is the predominating deity of the mode of ignorance. He is a supervisor of destruction. Although personally he is always situated in the transcendental position, but because he is engaged in this act of destruction, he is called as Tamasi. And he is also called as Sankarshana because he is the predominating deity of false ego. And together, Sankarshana draws all the false egos and the enjoyer and the enjoyment of the object, which is characterized by the conception of I. So as you can see on this slide, Lord Anantasesha, he is holding the whole Bhumandala, and this Bhumandala is just 0.1 million yojanas above the Garbhodak ocean. Just like, if you put a ball of mud in the water, it will all melt in the water. So this Bhumandala is made up of all mud, it is all earth. So it should not come in touch with the water of the Garbhodak ocean. So this Ananta Shesh, Lord Ananta, holds up this whole Bhumandal just above the surface of Garbhodak ocean. Yeah, we'll discuss. Somebody is asking, hellish planets and lower planets are different. Yes, Hellish planets are different than the lower planetary systems, as you can see in this picture. Below the 7 hellish planet, heavenly planet, lower planetary systems, there are 28 hellish planets. We'll discuss about that also. So this Lord Shankarshana, he holds this whole Bhumandala zero point 0.1 million yojanas above the Garbhodak ocean. So that's how he's always upholding the whole Bhumandal. And this whole Bhumandala is situated on one of the thousands of the hoods of Lord Ananta, and it appears just like a white mustard seed. Although you can see this is Ananta Shesh is looking very small as compared to Bhumandala, but it is described that this whole Bhumandala looks like a mustard seed on the head of Lord Ananta. And then Lord Ananta, from him Rudra appears, and Rudra, whenever Lord Ananta desires to destroy the entire Bhumandala, entire creation, from between his two eyebrows, Lord Rudra comes out. He's a three-eyed angry Rudra with all the 11 expansions, and he's carrying the trident. So Prabhupada in the purport writes there that in this creation, living entities are given the chance to perfect their lives and go back to spiritual world. But when the living entities, they don't utilize the opportunity which is given to them, and they misuse it to enjoy themselves, then Lord Sankarshana, he becomes very angry. And actually Lord Sankarshana, it will be described that he is actually by nature angry, but he controls his anger. And whenever living entities are not following Jiver Swarup Hoye Krishna Nityadas, they are not surrendering to Krishna, Lord Sankarshan becomes angry, and he destroys this entire creation. So although you can see this Lord Ananta is in the form of a serpent, but he has his own transcendental beauty body as a beautiful Lord. So Shukdev Goswami describes the beauty of Lord Sankarshana. He describes that Lord Sankarshana, he has transparent toenails. He's just like a Lord Vishnu avatar. So he has transcendental toenails, and when the unalloyed devotees of the Lord and the leaders of all the snakes, they offer obeisances to Lord Ananta, they can see their own reflection in the toenails of the Lord. And they look very, very beautiful, and they become very happy seeing their own reflection in the toenails of Lord. It looks like a mirror. It is a gem-like mirror. And then it is described that when the young serpent princesses, they serve, they want to get blessings from Lord Ananta, and they smear the long attractive arms of Lord Ananta with the paste, which is made up of aguru, sandalwood, and kumkum. That touch awakens the lusty desires of these princesses. So, and in reciprocation, Lord Ananta smiles. And with this beautiful smile, all the princesses, they become completely satisfied. So Prabhupada clarifies here that when it is described that the serpentine princesses, they are having lusty affairs with the Lord. So Prabhupada clarifies, in this world, generally, when male and female, they touch together, it creates the lusty desires. But the Lord Ananta and women who are giving him pleasure, they are both spiritual. Their lusty affairs are not lusty affairs of the people of this world. It is transcendental. But all the sensations and all the emotions which we experience in this world should exist in the spiritual world also. So therefore, the spiritual lust is also there. And Chakravarti Thakur describes this as Adi Rasa. But spiritual lust is completely different. Gopya kamad bhayad kamso dveshya shedya dayo nripa sambandhat vishnaya snehad yuyam bhaktya vayam prabho. Narad Muni is telling to Yudhishthir Maharaj, gopis kamad, out of lust. Because of their lust, they conquered Supreme Lord. That lust is not the mundane lust. What's the difference between mundane lust and the spiritual lust? That is the difference between the stone and the gold. Atmendriya priti vancha tare boli kam, Krishnendriya priti ichha dhare premanam. So we should not ever think that this lusty affair is the mundane lusty affair. And then Lord Ananta, he is extremely merciful unto all the conditioned souls. And for the welfare of the jivas, he controls his anger. But when Ananta, Lord Ananta sees that the jivas, the living entities, they are not taking advantage of his mercy, he becomes angry. Because the main mission of Ananta Dev is to dissolve this material creation. That is the main mission of Ananta, Srila Prabhupada writes there. But he checks his anger and intolerance. But when he sees that jivas, they are misusing the facility which is given to them. Nitya Baddha Krishna Hoite Nitya Bahirmukh Nitya Samsara Bhunje Nara Kadi Dukh. So living entities in this world, they are eternally suffering in this material world. काम क्रोधे रद्दास हैया तारे लाती खाए भ्रमिते भ्रमिते यदि साधु वैद्य पाए तार उपदेश मंत्रे पिशाची पलाए कृष्ण भक्ति पाए तबे कृष्ण निकटे आए. So somehow by great fortune, if somebody gets a devotee of the Lord, he becomes free from this, kicks of material nature. Otherwise, Krishna bahirmukh haiya bhogvancha kare nikatastha maya tare jhapatiya dhare. Whenever living entities, all of us, we want to enjoy separately from Krishna. Krishna, material energy, Maya Devi, she traps us. So therefore, Ananta, he is controlling his anger. And then it is described by Shukadeva Goswami that Anantadev, he pleases all his associates, the demons, the humans, the siddhas, charanas, urugas, vidyadharas. These are all associates of Lord Ananta. They constantly offer their beautiful prayers, their hymns, their offering. And when Supreme Lord Ananta, he hears all these prayers, he becomes very happy and joyful. And he bestows his blessings by speaking in a very sweet way. Then he describes the beauty of the garments of Lord Ananta. He says he wears a blue cloth, a earring, and he has a plow on his shoulder, and he has very well placed arms. He wears a golden belt around his waist, and he has a Vaijayanti garland. So this is the beautiful, description of the Supreme Lord. This is the description of any incarnation of Lord. Krishna is described in beautiful words. Varaha Piram Natavaravapo Karnayo Karnikaram Vibhradvasah Kanaka Kapisah Vaijayanti Chamala Randran Venum Madhar Sudhaya Purayan Gopa Brinde Brindaranyam Sapadaramanam Pravishad Geeta Kirti. And Krishna returns to the Vrindavan. All the gopis, they are appreciating and glorifying the beauty of Krishna. He has a peacock feather on his head. He is wearing a beautiful yellow garment. He has Natavaravapu. He is dressed very beautiful like a dramatic dancer. He has put a karnika flower above his ears, and he has curly hair on his forehead, which looks very beautiful. So this is the beauty of Krishna, which is described. Similar beauty description comes here. And on this garland of Lord Ananta, the bees, they keep humming. They are hovering around the garland, and they keep humming. The same description we heard in the third canto, where when all the birds, various birds, they are singing in very beautiful voices. When they hear bumblebee humming, they consider this humming to be the glorification of Krishna. That's why everybody becomes silent. Kola halam viramate bhringadipe harikatha ivagayamani. And in this way, Supreme Lord Ananta, he enjoys his unlimited pastimes. And then Shukadeva Goswami says, if a person who is very serious about being liberated from this material life, he should hear the glories of Ananta. From whom? From the mouth of spiritual master. And not just directly in the spiritual master who is coming in the chain of disciplic succession. So this parampara is glorified everywhere. So whenever we are getting knowledge, we should get the knowledge in parampara. So Shukadeva Goswami is describing that also here. And then he says that for persons who glorifies and meditates on the Supreme Lord Ananta, what is the result? Supreme Lord Ananta enters the core of the heart of these devotees, and then after entering, he vanquishes the contamination which is there because of the three modes of nature, and all the knots of ignorance are cut. Vidyate hridaya granthi chidyante sarva samshaya chiyante chasya karmani drishtavevatmanishware. So this is the result of hearing Krishna Katha. Shrunvata swakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtanat hridayantastho hi abhadrani vidhunoti suhrit satam. When we hear Krishna Katha in a proper, serious, sincere attitude, then Krishna Katha purifies the heart. And then it is described by Shukadeva Goswami that this Lord Ananta, he is the cause of creation, maintenance and destruction of this entire universe. By his glance, all the gunas, they become capable of creating this entire universe. We saw in the second canto how when Garbhodakshay, from this body of Karanodakshay Vishnu, Pradhana comes out. And in this Pradhana, the gunas, they are there. When Lord glances on it and impregnates this Pradhan with Jiva, Kala, Karma and Swabhava, Pradhan is agitated because of the gunas and the time. And the entire creation is made. And then he says, actually Ananta is one, but he manifests himself in many, many forms. And therefore nobody can understand the nature of Lord Ananta. People are bewildered. They say, oh, Supreme Lord, I think when he comes in the creation pastimes, he becomes affected by the modes of nature. But it is not the case. And Srila Prabhupada, in the 9th verse of this 25th chapter, he quotes a series of verses from Chaitanya Bhagavat to describe the glories of Lord Ananta. Like 20-25 verses he is quoting, where beautifully in Adi Khanda, those who want, they can read in the 9th verse of this 25th chapter. Beautifully, he describes the glories of Lord Ananta. And then he says that Lord Ananta, to give pleasure to his devotees, he manifests various forms. Whatever a devotee wants, he appears in that form. Yad yad dhyata urugaya vibhavayanti tattad vapu pranayase sadanugrahaya. It comes in the third canto. Whatever form a devotee worships, Lord appears in that form. Yad yad dhyata urugaya vibhavayanti tattad vapu pranayase sadanugrahaya. So that is the merciful nature of the Lord. He is ready to reciprocate with the devotees. And we know the story of how various devotees, they are so much attached. Murari Gupta, he was attached to worship of Lord Ramchandra because he was Hanuman. And Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they many times told him, Krishna is the Supreme Personality. Please worship him. But he said, I cannot. I have surrendered myself to the lotus feet of Lord Ram. I am ready to give up my life. I cannot give up worship of Lord Ram. Yad dhyata urugaya vibhavayanti. Therefore, whatever form a devotee worships, Supreme Lord appears. And then beautiful verse comes. Shukadeva Goswami glorifies the name of Lord Krishna. Yannam shrutam anukirtayed akasmad arto va yadi padita pralambhanad va hantyam sapadinam asheshamanyam kameshad bhagavata ashreyan mumukshaha. He says, Yannam shrutam anukirtayed akasmat. One who by chance chants the holy name of the Lord. Just now this holy name week is going on. So this is another beautiful verse describing the names of the Lord. One who hears the holy name of the Lord, anukirtayed, from a bona fide spiritual master. Artova, even if he is distressed. Yadi patitaha, even if he is degraded. If he is distressed, if he is patitaha, degraded, pralambhanadva, or even if somebody chants the name of the Lord jokingly. What is the result? Hanti amah sapadi. He becomes completely freed from all the sins. Not only him, Anyam, even if somebody else hears this person speaking, he also becomes free. Kam sheshad bhagavat ashrayan mumukshuhu. Therefore, anyone who is seeking the detachment and freedom from this material clutches, how can he avoid chanting the names of Lord Shesha? Who else he can take shelter of? Sanketyam parihasyam va stobham helanameva va Vaikunthanam grahanan ashesha agha haram vidoh. Yamaraj is telling to Yamdutas, the glory of the holy name is such that even if somebody points out, Sanketyam, we'll see in the sixth canto now, will begin. And even if somebody just points out, just like when we are walking on the road, some people say, oh, Hare Krishna people are going. He's not intending to take the name of Lord. He's just pointing out, Sanketyam, Parihasyam va. This is, like everybody must have experienced this, in the college, some students, those who are devotees, other students, they make fun of him. Kya Hare Krishna karta hai, pagal ho gaya, what is he doing? He's not reading, his hairstyle will change, So they are making fun. Hare Krishna people are all like that only. He is just making fun. Sanketyam parihasyam. Stobham. Stobham means some people like entertainment, musical entertainment. If you go to Hare Krishna, kya kirtan hota hai. Wow, wonderful, wonderful music. They come and they dance, they are happy. Helanam eva, if somebody is criticizing also by taking the names of Lord, Ashesh Agha Haram Vidu, he completely becomes purified of all the sins. Then Shukdev Goswami says that Ananta, he is unlimited, and therefore, even with thousands of tongues, if somebody glorifies, he will not come to the end of the glories of Lord Ananta. And this universe, which is such a huge 500 million yojanas, it is resting on the head of Ananta just like an atom, Anuvat. So this is the unlimited glory of Lord Ananta. And we have discussed earlier also that when this Lord Ananta, although he is a Supreme Lord, he is a Shaktiavesh avatar of the Lord, he is glorifying Supreme Lord, and it is described in Bhagavatam, Nantam vidamyahamami muneyo agrajaste maya balasya purushasya kuto varaye gayan gunan dashashatanan adi devah shesho dhunapi samavastyanasya param. So it is described, there is no end to the qualities of the Supreme Lord. Even if Shesha glorifies with his thousands of mouths for eternity, it will not come to the end of the glorification of Lord. So this is the ultimate glorification of the Supreme Lord. So then Shukdev Goswami also says there is no end to the great qualities of Lord. His prowess is unlimited. Durantya viryaha gunanubhavaha. Although he is self-sufficient and is himself supporting the entire universe, he resides beneath the Bhumandala and supports the whole Bhumandala. After describing all this, Shukdev Goswami now says to Parikshit Maharaj, as I have heard from the authorities, I have fully described to you the destinations that are achieved by the fruitive activities of all the living entities and according to the desires they have. What shall I speak now? So this is the end of the 25th chapter. Now, the last chapter of the 5th canto. Now, after Shukdev Goswami is asking, what shall I speak now? So 26th chapter, Parikshit Maharaj asks a question. He says, why are living entities put into different material situations? That means different planets, different planetary situations. So in response to this, Shukdev Goswami says, according to the faith they have, according to the Shraddha a person has, he is situated in a different type of mode. Shraddhaya paraya taptam tapastat trividham naraihi. So according to the faith one has, he performs a particular type of action, and based on the action he performs, he gets a particular type of destination. So Chakravarti Thakur, he says that because there are various types of faith, the various results also appear. If the faith is in the mode of goodness, sattva guna, dharma arises. And the result of this dharma is the performer will become happy. He'll get happiness. If the faith is in rajogun, a mixture of dharma and adharma will arise. And the result will be he will get a mixture of happiness and distress. If the faith is in the mode of ignorance, then he will be in the mode of, and from this adharma will arise and he'll become distressed. And Krishna describes in great detail in Bhagavad Gita what is the faith in the mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. So therefore, by the degrees of different types of faith, one develops different degrees of happiness and distress. And then he says that according to the extent of ignorance, avidya one is in, the person is engaging in certain types of acts. When a person is in complete ignorance, that is ignorance which is leading to the action in the madness, that will lead to the least severe hell. If he is mad and he is performing some ignorant action, he does not know what he is doing, he will go to least severe hell. That means if somebody is performing a dharmic activity due to inattention, he did not know it, he will not get severe reaction. If somebody is ignorant and his action, although he is in knowledge, but he is performing that action, a dharmic action, he will lead to a more severe hellish destination. If somebody performs sin with knowledge, just like a police, if he performs some sinful activity, he'll be punished more than an ordinary person, because police is supposed to know all the rules and regulations. And if somebody is in complete ignorance of, third is if he completely rejects all the scriptures, although he knows, but he does not believe the scriptures, he is an atheist. If he commits some sinful activities, he will go to the most severe hell. Bhagavad Gita also says, Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha, madhye tishtanti rajasa, jaganya gunavrittistha, adho gachanti tamasa. People in the mode of goodness, they go to heavenly planets. Mode of passion, they remain in the middle planetary systems. Mode of ignorance, they go to the hellish destinations. And then after that, Parikshit Maharaj asks, where are these hellish planets? Because Shukadeva Goswami described that they go to the hellish planets. Parikshit Maharaj asks, where are these hellish planets? Are they on this Bhumandal or somewhere within the universe or outside of the universe? Where are they? So now Shukadeva Goswami describes. So these hellish planets, they are situated in the intermediate space, as you can see in the slide. These hellish planets are within the Bhumandal only, but they are situated between Patala Loka and the Garbhodak ocean, within the Bhumandala. And we have discussed in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is described there that hell, they are situated 99,000 yojanas below the surface of the earth. So just 100 yojanas above the lower surface of the Bhumandala, the all hellish planets are there, because this whole Bhumandala is 1 lakh yojanas. 99,000 yojanas, sorry, just 1,000 yojanas above that, not 100. So that is the location of hellish planets, and there are 28 prominent hellish planets. There are many unlimited secondary hellish planets which are there. But Shukadeva Goswami, in this description, in this 5th canto, he describes the prominent 28 hellish planets. And he says that in this hellish planets, the Pitri Loka is also there. So there are 2 Pitri Lokas. One on the planet of Moon, other in the hellish planets. That does not mean that is a place of suffering. Yamraj also resides in the Pitrilok, in the hellish planets. There are two parts of hellish planets. One part is like the place where judgment is done, and where the city of the Yamraj is there. In the city of Yamraj, it is as good as a heavenly planet. All the Pitris, they reside there. Other part of this hellish planet is the actual place where the punishment is given. So Pitriloka is also situated in this region. Then Yamaraj is the king of all the Pitris. He is the son of the sun god. And anyone who does sinful activity, the agents of Yamaraj, the Yamdutas, they bring him to this place. And third canto describes that although this hellish planet is situated 99,000 yojanas below Bhumandala, below the surface, when a person dies, he reaches this huge distance, 99,000 yojanas. One yojana is 12 miles, 8 miles, sorry, or 12 kilometers. He reaches this destination in 2 moments, that is 2 muhurta or 48 minutes, that's all. It's very fast, just more than the speed of the mind. So anybody who commits some sinful activity, after death he is taken here by the Yamdutas, and then he is given punishment and suffering in the hellish planets. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that Yamaraj is not a mythological character. He has his own abode called Pitriloka, where he resides with all his associates. And those who do not believe in hell, they should read this description. One time there was one devotee. His brother, he had stopped coming to Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada had just completed, writing this 5th canto. So he thought maybe I should give, this 5th canto book to my brother. And because he was engaging in all sinful activities like previous habits. So he gave this book to his brother. And after this brother read, and he specifically told him, you read the last chapter of this 5th canto. So when he read this last chapter, his brother, he became completely transformed. He became completely fearful. Oh my God, I'm doing so many sinful activities. I don't know how much time I'll be suffering here. Immediately packed his bag, and next day he was there in temple again. So, all this description, what we'll be reading now, very, very, very fearful, very, very ghastly description of all the heavenly planets. Whatever we are doing, the result of all that is very, very dangerous. So then Shukdev Goswami says that some authorities, they say there are 21 hellish planets, some say there are 28, And then Shukdev Goswami takes the name of all the different hellish planets, their forms, their symptoms, and that is the further part of the discussion. So then it is described that people who control and take away other person's wife by illegal means, he goes to a Tamishra hell. Tamishra means darkness, and the treatment which he gets there is he is beaten, chastised, and starved of food and water. Sometimes he faints. And the person who slyly cheats others and enjoys others' wives and children, he is sent to a Andha Tamishra hell. So now there is a series of 28 hells we'll be discussing from 7th verse to 36th verse. This goes on. So क्या गड़बड़ किया, कहाँ पे जाएंगे, क्या punishment होगा, all these things are described. So in the Andha Tamishra hell, he is thrown down. And there he is full of pain. Sometimes he loses his consciousness, he loses his sight, he becomes blind completely. And his condition is like a tree which is cut at the root. And then the person who commits violence against other living entities to maintain his own family, he is put into Raurava hell. Raurav means there is an animal called Ruru there. So those who kill other animals, they are put into this Raurava hell. And there, this living being that were injured by this person, the animals which were killed by this person, they eat him. Just like you can see in the slide. Now this jackal, he's tearing apart the intestines of this person. And this Ruru, these animals, they are even more envious than snakes. And then the person who maintains his body by hurting others, he is put into Maharaurava hell, And in Maharaurava hell, there are animals which are called Kravyadas. They torment him and they uh, eat the flesh, and actually this person is made to eat his own flesh. That is the dangerous condition of Maharaurava hell. And there is something called Kumbhi Pak. Now, this is a famous hell we have heard many times. What happens? Who goes to these Kumbhi Pak hell? So those people who cook animals and birds alive, just to enjoy and satisfy their tongue. If somebody eats the animals and cooks the animals alive, and we have seen many of the videos now, in the last 6 months or a year, how people, they even, eat, even cook live snakes. They put the snakes in a boiling oil, and they cook them. That is their destination, Kumbhi Pak. What happens there? He is himself cooked in a boiling oil. Sometimes people ask, प्रभु जी इतना पेन है, मरता नहीं है क्या आदमी? अच्छा वही क्वेश्चन, अरे same question is put. Sorry, I did not read the question, but still I read. So somebody asked the same question. इतना सब होने के बाद भी मरता नहीं है क्या? Really a coincidence. I did not read the question, but still. Actually, when a person is put in these hellish planets, he is given a body which is called Yatana Sharir. The Yatana Sharir is given in such a way that even if the person is torn apart, we'll see what happens to further to such persons. He's even torn apart, he's crushed like a powder, but still he does not die. That is called Yatana Sharir. And we'll see in all these hells, he goes to so much of pain. And somewhere he is made to eat all abominable things, where that is the training which is given to this person. If somebody likes to, somebody who is about to become a pig, he has to be trained because nobody likes to eat stool. So he's put in a place where he's told to eat stool, So now we'll discuss all that. It will come. So there is a hell called Kala Sutra. What is a Kala Sutra? In this place, there is a flat copper surface which is heated by fire below and scorching heat from above. Niche, fire, above, sun. And this vessel is of the circumference of 10,000 yojanas. Who goes there? A person who is a killer of Brahmana. So he is burnt internally by hunger. He is not given anything to eat. He is burnt internally by hunger, externally by fire. Either he is lying down, he is sitting or standing up or roaming about. He keeps on suffering for thousands of years. How many thousands? As many as the hairs which are there on the body of an animal. That many thousands of years he suffers like this. There is another hell called Asipatravan. Asipatravan means the trees of this place, they are like sword. Asi means sword, Patra means leaves. Who goes there? People who are deviating from their path of the Vedas in the absence of emergency. This is important thing. If there is emergency, you can of course, make some concession, just like scriptures say that if there is nothing to eat, then you can eat animals. But if there is no emergency and you are deviating from the path, then you go to these Asipatravan hell. And in Asipatravan, what happens? He is beaten with whips, and then although he is running because of the pain, his whole body is cut with the palm-like leaves. All these sword-like leaves, they cut the body, and he becomes injured and fatigued, and he cries out very, very loudly. There is a hell called Shukarmukha. In Shukarmukha, who goes? If a king or a government servant, So you can tell this to some government official. So it is described that if a king or a government official, he punishes an innocent person or inflicts corporal punishment on a brahmana, he is sent to this Shukarmukha. In Sukarmukha, what happens? Just like we have seen sugarcane juice, sugarcane, how it is crushed in between two rolling wheels. This person is put like a sugarcane and he's crushed. He becomes powdered. He cries piteously and faints. He does not die. That suffering goes on, So that is a Sukarmukha. There is another hellish planet called Andhakupa. इतना सब सुनने के बाद नींद आएगा कि नहीं मालूम नहीं. So in Andhakupa, this place is a very dark place, and this person suffers like an animal here. Who goes there? If a developed human being with intelligence, he kills and torments innocent creatures, he goes to this Andhakupa. And what happens there? There he is attacked by the birds, beasts, reptiles, mosquitoes, and worms and flies, and all these animals, they start attacking him. He does not get any sleep. He does not get any rest. He is just wandering in the darkness. Now next hell is even more dangerous. That is called Krimi Bhojan. Krimi Bhojan means feeding on worms. Who goes there? This is interesting. Person who eats without sharing food with the guests, old men, children, or eating without offering the 5 kinds of sacrifices. He is no better than crow. He is sent to this Krimi Bhojan. What happens there? He becomes a worm in a lake of worms. How big is the lake? 100,000 yojanas wide. And what happens there? Interesting thing happens there. He feeds on the worms and is himself being eaten by the other worms. And he remains there as long as his sin remains. There is another hell called Sandansha. Who goes to this Sandansha hell? Person who robs a Brahmana and the other persons of the gems and the gold in the absence of emergency. Again, it is described. What happens in this Sandansha hell? Yamaraj and Yamdutas, Yamaraj does not do personally all these things. Yamdutas, they tear his skin, पूरा चमड़ी उधेड़ते हैं, हिंदी में बोलते हैं. They tear apart the skin of this person with red hot iron balls and tongs. His entire body is cut into pieces. He does not die. He continues suffering there. There are around 17 more remaining. There is a hell called Tapta Surmi. What is this Tapta Surmi? In this Tapta Surmi, there is a red hot iron structure. Who goes there? Person who indulges in the illicit sex life. He goes there. What happens there? There he is beaten with the whips, and a man is forced to embrace a red hot iron form of a woman, and a woman is forced to embrace a similar form of a man. So that is the Tapta Surmi. There is another hell called Vajrakantaka Shalmali. So in this Vajrakantaka Shalmali, there is a thorny silk cotton tree. Who goes there? One who indulges in indiscriminate sex life, even with the animals, So whatever we are seeing and hearing nowadays, this is all mentioned in the Shastras. People will be there who will be having all these demoniac mentalities. What happens there? Yamdutas, they hang him on a silk cotton tree, Shalmali tree, and they pull him down. Just imagine, there are thorns all over the tree. He's put on the tree and is pulled down through all the trees, all the thorns. So these thorns, they tear apart the body of this person. Next is a Vaitarani river. This Vaitarani river is the most, is the river which surrounds this hellish planets. And this Vaitarni river is full of ferocious aquatic animals. Who is sent to this Vaitarni river? One who neglects prescribed duties, one who breaks the religious principles, he is sent there. In the Vaitarni river, he falls down, and the aquatic animals, they eat him. And although he is so very sinful, he does not die. He suffers terribly. He keeps remembering all the sinful activities which he has performed all his life and so many lifetimes. You know what is this river full of? This river is not full of water. This river is full of stool, urine, pus, blood, nails, hair, marrow, flesh, and fat. So all these are the ingredients of this Vaitarana river. Vaitarani, we have our Vaitarana river in near Palghar. This Vaitarani is different. Next is a Puyod. Puyod means very disgusting ocean. Who is sent here? If the husband of Shudra women, they live like animals, who without good behavior, cleanliness and regulation, they are sent here. In this Puyod, what happens? He is put in the ocean which is full of all these things, pus, stool, urine, mucus and all that. And he is forced to eat those disgusting things. One time, a person was sent to hell. All these ghastly descriptions, some lighter moments. And then he was given the, preview of what different kinds of hell are. In one hell, he saw that people were standing with their just half of the body in stool, and they were drinking tea. They were having tea and they were standing in stool. In other hell, he saw that this person, he was beaten and by whips, and then he was tortured by being cut and everything. And then he was given an option, which one do you like? So he said, itna pitai ho raha hai, this is better. At least although they are standing in stool till the waist or till the neck, but at least they're drinking tea. So he said, I'll go to this hell. So as he entered the hell, the Yamdutas, they announced, okay, tea break over, now head down. So that was the tea break, So then their head was down. So that is the thing which is happening there. There is another hell called Prana Rodha. Who is sent here? If the men of the higher class take their pet dogs or asses to hunt and kill animals unnecessarily, they are sent to this Prana Rodha hell. What happens there? Yamdutas make him the target and pierce him with their arrows. There is a hell called Vishashan. The persons who sacrifice animal for material prestige, they are sent to this Vishashan hell. And Yamdutas, they kill him after giving him unlimited pain. There is a hell called Lala Bhaksha. If a person, he forces his wife to drink semen out of his lusty desire, he is sent here. And there he is himself floating, he is himself thrown in the flowing river of the ocean, of the semen, which he is forced to drink. There is another hell called Sarmeyadana. Sarmeyadan, in this hell, there are 720 dogs with teeth which are as strong as thunderbolts. Who goes to this hell? If one is a thief, arsonist, prisoner, or government official who plunders the mercantile men, he is sent in this hell. And in this Sarmeyadana, these dogs, they voraciously devour him. There is a hell called Avichimat. In this hell, there is no place of there is no water, And who goes to this hell? People who lie or who bear false witness in business transactions. Interesting. People who lie or who bear false witness in business transactions, they are put in this Avichimat hell. What happens there? In this hell, there is a mountain which is 100 yojanas high. He is repeatedly thrown head first, with his head down. He is thrown from the top of this mountain to a stony land, but he does not die. That keeps happening. There is another hell called Ayahapan. Ayaha means there is in this hell, drinking of hot molten iron is there. Who goes there? If a Brahmana or a Brahmana's wife or someone following a vrata drinks liquor, if somebody drinks liquor while following a vrata, or if a Kshatriya or a Vaishya drinks somrasa in deluded state, he is sent to this Ayahapan. And there, Yamadutas, they stand on his chest and they put hot molten iron in his mouth. There is a hell called Sharakardam. Sharakardam means pool of mud. A low-born person who fails to respect a person who is more elevated than him. This is very interesting. If somebody fails to respect a person who is more elevated than him, either in the birth or in the austerity or in the education, behavior, caste or spiritual order. So it is very, very important. If somebody does not respect these personalities who are higher, either in the birth or caste or spiritual order or austerity or education or anything, they are put in this Sharakardam. There he is thrown headfirst into a pool of mud, and there he suffers greatly. There is a hell called Rakshogana Bhojan. Rakshogana Bhojan is a place where Rakshasas, they cut this person. Who goes there? Person who sacrifices human beings to Bhairava or Bhadrakali and eats that flesh. He goes to this Rakshogana Bhojana. And there he is himself cut into pieces with sharpened swords, and the Rakshasas, they drink his blood with great jubilation. There is a hell called Shulaprota. In the Shulaprota, there are needle-like lances which are like needles. Who goes to these hells? People who give pain to the animals who seek protection. The animals who are supposed to be protected, if they are killed, either by piercing with lances or threads, as if they are dolls. So there may be some people who would do like this. They would kill the animal by tying threads around their neck or some body parts. They are sent to this Shulaprota. They are themselves, they are pierced by the arrow like lances, and he suffers a lot. There he is attacked by the sharp beaked birds like vultures, and there he remembers all his sinful acts. There is a hell called Dandashuka. The persons who are like envious serpent, they are always angry, they give pain to others, they are sent to these type of hellish planets. And there the serpents with 3 or 5 or 7 hoods eat him, just as a snake eats mice. There is a hell called Avata Nirodhana. In this Avata Nirodhan, people who put other living beings in the well, sometimes it may be happening in the past. People, they would put others in the well. They are put in this hellish planets where they are supposed to go through the same suffering. There is a hell called Parayavartan. In this Parayavartan, there are vultures. They pluck out the eyes of the people who are sent there. Who goes there? This is again interesting. If a householder receives guests or visitors with cruel glances, this is interesting. If we do not welcome our guests with a smiling face and we welcome with a cruel glance, क्यों आ गए? अभी आना था इनको. And it's as if to burn them to ashes. They are sent to Paryavartan. And there what happens? Hard-eyed vultures, herons, crows, and all the other birds gaze at him, and they pluck out the eyes of this person with great force. And the last of this 28 is Shuchi Mukha. Shuchi Mukha is a very painful place. It is stitching. So who goes there? Persons who are proud of their wealth, but they are fearful of losing it. And they perform sinful activities to attain more and more wealth. Such people, because they have a twisted vision, they cannot see in a proper way. They always are hankering to get more and more. They are like ghosts. They are sent to these places. And there, what happens, Yamaraj and Yamdutas, they are like expert sewers, people who sew clothes. They punish him by stitching the threads to the entire body of this person. They stitch threads to the entire body, sil dete hain pura, like a weaver manufacturing cloth. So this is the description of the hellish planets. Then after describing this, in the end, Shukadeva Goswami describes the Virata Rupa. He says, whatever I have described to you, all this Bhumandala and upper planets and lower planets and hellish planets, they are all the Virata, parts of the external bodily feature of the Lord. That is the Virata Rupa. And then he says in hellish planets, in the kingdom of Yamaraj, there are hundreds and thousands of hellish planets. I have just described 28. And all the impious people, they are sent here. But all the people, after they suffer all their sinful activities, they are again put in their next bodies. And then Shukadeva Goswami says, this is the external body of the Lord, that is the Virata Rupa. And he says that if somebody hears the Virata Rupa, the external form of the Lord, with faith and with all the religious devotional sentiments, he understands who is the Supreme Lord. In the second canto also it is described, Mayam Varnayato Mushya Ishwarasya Anumoditaha Shanvata Shraddhaya Nityam Mayayatma Namuhyati. So it is very, very important to hear all these Virata Rupa description of the Lord, hear about the Maya Shakti of the Lord. Because when we hear about the Maya Shakti of the Lord, we will not be bewildered by the Maya Shakti of the Lord. Maya Shanvata Shraddhaya Nityam Maya Atma Namuhyati. And then Shukadeva Goswami says the spiritualist, the renunciant, should first control his mind. This is about the Virata Rupa meditator. He first meditates on the Virata Rupa form of the Lord. Gradually he can think of the spiritual form of the Lord also. And then after this, in the end of this 5th canto, he describes, O Shukadeva, O Parikshit Maharaj, thus I have described planet Earth, the Dvipas, the Varsha, river, mountains, skies, oceans, lower planetary systems, the 4 directions, the hellish planets, and the stars. These all constitute the Virata Rupa on which living entities repose. So this is the end of the 5th canto. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So thank you very much to everyone for your patient listening. Because of all of you, I am able to read Bhagavatam and share. So if there are any questions, you can please ask. Any possibility of devotion in hellish planets? Not really. In the punishment ward, there is no possibility. But there are the place where Yamaraj lives. There, Yamaraj is also performing devotional service. Okay. Any other questions anybody has? Okay, so thank you very much. We'll stop here. So tomorrow we'll have a overview of all the 5 cantos, and then from day after tomorrow we'll begin with the 6th canto. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.